this is the other way around?
It was my big aha. NLP is amazing. It was my first opening to some of the stuff that I had going on in my childhood.
Yeah.
NLP helps you kind of identify the structures, so the programs that you've been adopting from a child that has now shaped the way you view the world. And I call it like the movie mind, that we are the director of our own life. So each of us are the director of our own life. And so if you imagine yourself right now sitting in a cinema, as an example, and up on the screen is a movie
Of your life.
of your situations right now. What most of us don't realize, and what NLP helps us with, is recognizing that the scene that is on the screen is something that you've influenced, that you've decided, that is eliciting particular responses in your life. And so most people have got a scene that's not serving them. Like, my parents were this, and my partner's that, or business is this, my friend's that. And so there's a scene up on the screen which is eliciting a negative response that they don't like. But most of us aren't aware that we're in a cinema, in a movie, and many are not aware that we're actually the director, and that at any given point we can actually change the scene.
You're in control.
Correct. So where unresolved trauma and nervous system comes into play is that you can reframe an event that's taken place. So, using NLP, which is like, this event has taken place, you maybe, let's just say you were hit as a child, okay? And it's like, well, my parents were under pressure. So if we were to go back and reframe it, it's like, well, they were doing the best that they could.
Yeah.
They were under pressure.
One of the best NLP presuppositions is like, people do the best they can with what they know at the time.
Correct. Which is true.
It's true, yeah.
Which is true. But so if we're going to reframe that and say, well, they did the best that they could, they were under pressure, I was probably being a little shit, which is where a lot of people go. I wasn't an easy child because they got told that, oh, you were so difficult. Your brother was easier, or your sister was, or whatever the narrative was. So we can go in and reshift it so that we can neutralize, kind of how we viewed what occurred to us. But what it misses is the physiological aspect of when we were hurt and smacked and our parents betrayed us, the people that we're meant to love. What happens to a child in that moment is they've got a choice. Every child has got to choose between a secure attachment, like, I need to make sure my fucking parents take care of me.
Yeah.
And
that's your survival.
That's my survival.
Point, yeah.
Secure attachment, and my own authenticity. Who am I as a kid? How am I evolving? How do I show myself? And so when a child misbehaves or is running around exploring the world, because that's what we do as kids, and now we're just big kids still trying to do it, right? And then that is not agreed upon by the family, because you do something, you break that thing, you do the wrong thing because you're experimenting, exploring, you're learning about boundaries, and you get hurt, whether it's physically or emotionally. You realize as a kid, it's not safe for me to be myself.
Because the act of you being yourself caused you pain.
Correct. So then you realize, shit, my primary caregiver, the person that's going to make sure I'm fed and meant to take care of me, has just not acknowledged this and said, that's bad, or you're bad, or whatever you did is bad. So then the child in the moment has a choice. Do I want to keep being that and experiencing that? Or should I start to conform? And part of the conforming is the child has to self-abandon themselves to then create a secure attachment. And that's where they start to develop people-pleasing tendencies, avoidance strategies, anxiety. They change their own behavior to keep mum and dad happy.
And that's where conforming comes from, right?
Well, that's where conforming, or like, the two-faced sides of things even. So they'll conform in the home, but then when they're out there, like what I was conforming in the home, but then I was out there taking drugs as a 10-year-old, drinking and, looking like I was a good kid.
Wiling out. As soon as you'd get your release, you would
100%
overdo it.
Yeah.
Overcompensate.
And so why? Because I'm trying to return back to finding who I am. This is why we have the epidemic of, fuck, I don't know who I am anymore. Like, I'm lost in this relationship. Women after children, same thing. Like, fuck, who am I outside of a mother? I've forgotten that.
Oh, dude, I witnessed that firsthand with my mum.
Yeah.
Firsthand, like
deep.
Yeah, witnessed her once all the kids, like, because I got an older brother and a younger sister.
Yeah, okay. So you're middle child.
Middle child.
Ah,
yeah,
cool.
The favourite. Yeah, middle child. So when I'd grown up, moved out. Brother married, moved out, and then once my sister was kind of married and moved out, it's like almost like she lost her identity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, she's been a mum for 20 years.
Yeah, man.
And now that's it.
Yeah.
Like, what's next?
Yeah.
And now, and especially like
Yeah.
when you do something for so long, it's so hard to change.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw her go through that and continue to go through that now. Like it's, and it's hard to witness because you start to think, oh, like you don't know. When you're a kid, you don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
It's just your mum.
You just think it's
It's just life.
Yeah,
This is life.
just
Life's going.
how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
This
you
is what
look,
everyone's going through.
it seems normal. And you look back and then you realize like, oh yeah. And then you try your best to not make the same mistakes. Does that make sense? I'm sure you probably heard that line a lot.
Yeah. Not following the same footsteps, kind of thing.
More so like try and learn from them.
Yeah.
You know, things they teach you and the things that they do.
Yeah. Which is more from where we learn from.
What they
less
do.
about what they tell us and more about what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Kids will do what you do, not what you say.
Yeah.
I don't have kids, but
I
feel like we've learnt.
Yeah.
You know that I don't have kids?
Well, no, as in like with the kids and they follow what you do.
Yeah,
because,
they follow what you
just
do.
some of the,
You learn
some of the words that
firsthand,
come
right?
out of my kids' mouth.
Yeah, and you're like, where'd you get that from?
You, Dad, you said it.
Yeah. And then there's no going back. So, okay, so you spoke about the 4 different, I guess, ways people handle or attachment types. I think I've heard you refer to it in some of your content as well.
Yep.
Is there a better one? Are we trying to learn to be capable in all of them? Is there better ones in certain situations? Like, how do we navigate this? And what's someone to do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is
Deep-
where the
question.
work really kicks in, man. So the holy grail is secure attachment.
But isn't security a human need?
It is, but again, when it comes to our choice between I need to survive and I want to thrive and take a risk and be bold, we default to survival.
Yeah, and that's why people.
Which is a form of security.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it's
I know
just
that
security
if I take this job at this big company, and they've got they'll pay my super and we get annual leave, and I know that every week we'll get paid and blah blah blah, and that whole
man.
life that everyone kind of falls into, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why like starting a business as an example is like going out into the wilderness. It's like being in a zoo.
Yeah, and saying I'm going to go on this
and being raised in a zoo, and then all of a sudden going out into the Amazon.
Yeah, and generally those animals don't survive, right?
Well, it's a lot harder because you've got to decondition. You're no longer being fed through the cage. You've now got to find your client.
No one's feeding you at all.
No one's feeding you. There isn't this warm, cozy bed at night. You've got to find shelter.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that you'll eat.
No guarantee. Yeah. So, secure attachment from a perspective of our stress response and our attachment is stemming back to that whole notion. What I said earlier, Robbie. It's like the child who self-abandons because they can't be themselves anymore and explore because of that family dynamic. So they self-abandon. So ultimately, most of us, like as adults, as we get older, we're all trying to return home. We're all actually trying to go back, and the work that I teach is going back and collecting that younger version of you that experienced certain things and bring them into the moment. And we do that by creating emotional safety within ourselves. That's the holy grail of being able to create secure attachment in your life, meaning that I'm securely attached to myself. I'm fully okay with who I am. I express myself authentically, and I don't abandon myself when I enter relationships, when I'm with a significant other, and I'm presently available for my family, my children and whatnot. I'm emotionally available. So like speaking to your mum and lots of other mums, including mine as well, a lot of them didn't know how to put their own oxygen mask on first.
Yes.
And so
100% agree.
Talking to that abandonment stuff, it's like mothers in particular that experience abandonment growing up. Now they become a mother, they emulate what their mother did. Yeah. Which is, it's make it all about the kids.
Kids first. Kids first. The kids need to be okay.
Exactly.
And they almost wear that like a badge of honor. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like a sense of pride. Like, no, we put the kids first.
Correct.
That's
it's a badge of honor, but then it turns into resentment and it turns into ill health for them eventually. Because when you're operating out of alignment from abandonment, you're saying, well, what are the warning signals? It's like, well, if you're in the zone where you think these things are normal, what ends up happening is the universe puts you in circumstances in order to help you awaken. So this is where I had my events. I've had multiple events. That event on 2019 was the final straw. I had multiple events that were probably even more severe than that one.
Do you mind? So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click just over here. Or if you want to watch the full episode, you can click over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.